G'day folks. Well, as I play through Atlantic War, as I often like to do, I like to compare with historical progress, just to see how this game, and how my play of it, it's not just the game, it's how my decisions reflect what actually happened. I've been particularly thinking about 12th SS Division and what they've done and what happened historically. And so I kind of went digging into their history, and it's really interesting. They were distracted, or they couldn't release for 12 hours after the initial news of the landings came through because they had to wait for permission. But then they were distracted by these fake airborne landings, the dummies, where were they dropped? That were dropped. They were dropped somewhere near Les from Operation Titanic. So they were distracted. And then they finally arrived. Now, I was thinking about what I've done and what they did. Okay, so late on the 6th of June, they came rushing in from the east and they formed up. They formed up. They kind of arrived in the area and they formed up at a place called Evrishi, which is between Villas Bocage and Caen, down here. Here it is. So it's really interesting. They moved from the east, they formed up here, and then they marched north, and a Panther battalion ran out of fuel east of the Orne River. Remarkable. They were trying to respond to this invasion, and they ran out of fuel. But then, in the morning of the 7th of June, they finally kind of moved to the front and took up a position kind of northwest of Caen, pretty much where you see here. They were ordered to confront and stop the 3rd Canadian advance, which is kind of what they've done. And they tried to break through around Buron, which is this town here. Right, so that's exactly where they were. Now, I didn't counterattack with this 12th SS. Open information, and this is really interesting where, having open information shapes your decisions. I'm not going to try and break through there. I mean, historically, many will know that the 21st Panzer Division tried to rush through to the beach, and they I think I've got a map for it somewhere, which I'll show you in a moment. But on the 6th of June, 21st Panzer pushed through. It's kind of towards Luxe-sur-Mer, down here, this corridor, I think it was. And then they turned back when they saw a second wave of 6 airborne paratroopers landing and got worried about their rear. And so they turned around and kind of settled around this area, around Buron and the like. So it got me thinking about 12th Division and how games simulate forming up. And like I said, they arrived down here on late on the 6th of June. In this kind of game, I've just rushed every unit to the front and we throw everyone in the front lines, etc. But there's also these really interesting maps you just got a peek of just earlier. So this is my situation at the end of the 6th of June. I had to go back to my old video to take a photo of it because I didn't actually snap it at the time. But this is where I was, around Gold Juno Sword. Omaha, pretty much as you'd expect, a small circle. But you've got here, this is a Douves radar station. These are the strong points that were probably more easily overcome than what I did. But now let's contrast it. And this is, of course, the not a breakthrough, but just a little a peek through the German lines that I managed to secure late on the midnight turn. But let's contrast that with some other maps. Where's a good map? I did have a heap up. Okay, this one here. All right, so let's try and get them side by side. So of course, historically, Bayeux didn't fall. Again, looking at Omaha here, there's Omaha, pretty much spot on as you'd expect. The advance to Bayeux stops short just outside of Bayeux. We've got the 50th Brigade there. So let me go to actually my map and see. I've got 50th Division. I don't know where. 50th Brigade is probably. They've got 56th Brigade. Maybe that's 56th. yeah, probably doesn't matter too much what particular brigade it is. But then, again, I'll bring up my other photo. Okay, so then we've got an advance. They've captured SK. Cruelli fell. Now I've got Cruelli. This is that point here. It's this little bulge, which is, you know, the biggest point. Actually, not so different. So just so, again, it's hard. Here's SK Seychelles. Okay, that's, you know, that point just east of Bayeux. And on this map, it's suggesting that it did fall. So maybe was a bit behind initially in that vicinity. I'm going to try and shrink this, so cause it's often easier to zoom in on the vassal map, and I'll explain the points as I go through them. Okay, so as we head east, little bumps, but it's positioned in front of Juno Beach and Soar, which are most interesting. This is the 3rd Canadian Division rushing down to Caron, this road between Cruelli and Caen, right? They're kind of right on that road. Now, historically, they had pushed, 3rd Canadian Division did very well on the 6th of June. They were pushing towards, I think they had the objective of the airfield, right? Carpiquet airfield down here, which I talk about a lot. But yeah, a bit of a bulge. They had fought towards Buron down here. All right, you can see that there. And this is where, actually no, Buron is further to the east. But then, okay, this is a more detailed map of the situation in front of Juno. All right, so you've got the Douves radar, which is around this area, all right, and then you've got the 3rd Canadian. So this is this is these grey sort of, what are they, kind of a beige, I'm trying to think of the colour. What would you call that? A dark cream, almost brown, olive drab maybe. You can see them pushing through here, again, kind of towards that road between Cruelli and Caen. So there's Caen in the bottom right, there's Cruelli, and frontline at midnight, 6th, 7th of June. They were on Cruelli, Canet, just before Camilli, but then on the right, you've got elements that drove towards Buron and then we'll push back. And looking at this, if I can just focus on, like, can I mark it up somehow? Yeah, let's try and mark it up. Right, so Juno Beach, here's, I'm going to try and do this live. Here's the kind of, here's Cruelli, right? And there's St. Aubin-sur-Mer. Right, so, and it bounces out a little bit around, bounces out quite a fair bit. So that line goes all the way down, maybe it kind of goes out like this, around Douves, and then down like so to Carpiquet. You can see the airfield, Carpiquet down here, which is just south of that main road. All right, so that's kind of, it kind of bends down like so. So what we hear, these blue lines show kind of the green lines on this map, right? Boundaries between the divisions. And if you can look at this line here, just south of Cruelli, right? So it comes down and then it goes down around Canet and then back up. And then, whoa, I don't want a straight line. Doesn't like me holding it in. So Cruelli captured, Canet captured, and then it loops around Douves, back out to that line. Now they had captured Ainy and Colombi. They on this map. Ainy and Colombi. Douves here, Ainy, and there's Ainy, Colombi. Oh yeah, Colombi-sur-Théon, maybe? I'm probably butchering these names, by the way. But that's where they were. So they're kind of like, yeah, it came out like that. So that's, I mean, again, this is my crude kind of interpretation, but just in front of Juno, that's pretty much on point. The situation is different in front of Sword Beach because, look, the Canadians, they've crossed over. This is now 7th of June, end of the AM turn, All right, so not much further progress beyond there. I struggled to find a good map on the 7th of June. I know there is the 12th Army Group maps in the Library of Congress, but they're very inaccurate and vague, and they lack detail. Yeah. So, look, I think the main difference is how the 12th SS has stretched out further west. And again, I think it's because of the work of the 8th Armoured Brigade. They just managed to slip across that stream, get through the Germans, avoiding movement halts, and just push that line out a little bit further. And then, it's only just now, on the morning of the 7th of June, when did Bayeux fall? I think Bayeux fell. Bayeux fell on 7th of June 1944, historically. Yep, 7th of June. So that's happened with the recon. Germans just could not hold it. Again, it's still the AM turn, but 50th Division is going to come out southwest. So look, it's really interesting. I think I'm pretty much on par. Here is my overview of the situation, just at the end of this turn. I think probably 82nd is struggling a bit more than they did historically. I think the situation around Omaha is, from what I know, pretty much as it was. I think the 6th Airborne is probably struggling a little bit more than they were historically, because historically commandos had crossed over here by now and they had a lot more support from the 3rd Division, who is slow to arrive. That's going to be the first things I do. These guys are going to come straight across the Orne River and start pushing north against the 711th. And that will leave the 51st Division west of the Orne. The Canadians in front of this area here. And I think 50th Division will have quite a broad front. They've got 50th Division and the 8th Armoured Brigade to do a lot of work out in the west. And then, of course, you know, you've got some reinforcements arriving. We've got more 51st, 49th Division coming in from Gold. But yeah, so this red line shows my front right now, which is midday pretty much on the 7th of June. If you can find a good map to contrast with that, let me know. Again, this is midday. Most of the maps that you can find highlight the situation at sort of the end of the day, at midnight, etc. So we will see, as I said, by the end of this day, we will see far more 50th Division units passing through Bayeux, linking up with Omaha, and so forth. All right, so yeah, just something that's really interesting. I love to compare the game with the history. What have we got here? Yeah. So as I said, that's just the turn before where I am here. But yeah, really fascinating just to think about. I started thinking about 12th SS and where they were and where they went, and it got me thinking about. And it was really interesting to see Buron as the focus of their fighting. All right, thanks, folks, and take care.